Stay calm, stay calm, stay calm, stay calm. You're doing a good job, ma'am. You're doing a good job. You're doing
It's so hot. I'm burning up.
Hold on a second. 83rd floor.
Help! 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 Help!
Hello, ma'am.
Help!
Stay calm, ma'am.
Help!
Hello everyone. As you can see in the title, today's Mystery Archive will talk about the September 11th attacks. Everyone knows a little bit about 9/11. It's one of the most consequential single events in modern history, but there is so much to unravel about what happened that day. For example, did you know that the World Trade Center complex was made up of 7 towers, 3 of which fell on the day of the attack? Did you know that there were actually 4, not 3 hijacked planes with approximately 19 hijackers involved? Did you know that the FBI began looking into a possible threat just 2 weeks before the attacks? Did you also know that numerous US investigative agencies were warned about a possible threat, but due to internal data retention policies, investigations were delayed? This is a complex story with many important relevant events taking place both before and after the tragedy. But as always with this channel, today's narrative will briefly summarize the before, then focus on details of the events themselves, and finally summarize the aftermath. A year after the attacks, President George W. Bush founded the 9/11 Commission. This is the official body that issues reports, information and data that are relied on today by researchers of the subject. On September 11, 2001, the world stopped. 4 hijacked planes flew towards various targets determined by the Al-Qaeda leader, Osama bin Laden. The targets included the 2 tallest towers in the World Trade Center complex, the Twin Towers, the Pentagon, home of the US Department of Defense, and according to Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, one of the organizers of the attacks, the US Capitol, the legislative center of government. But some researchers believe that the real target of this attack was actually the White House. I think that for most of us, when we hear of a 9/11, terrible images quickly come to mind. Perhaps memories of planes crashing, buildings falling, people running, dust rising. But many of us do not actually know a lot of details about what happened during, and most importantly, just before the plane attacks. Such elaborate onslaughts do not happen overnight without detailed planning. They are the consequences of meticulous preparation. So, once again, respecting the chronological order of the facts, I need to go back to 1999 and the first official record related to the 9/11 attacks. In late 1999, CIA surveillance operations in Yemen, the Middle East, indicated that a man named Al-Midar was planning a terrorist attack. His family's communications were intercepted, and the information gathered linked Midar to both Al-Qaeda and a man named Azmir. In January 2000, the CIA tracked Midar to Dubai. Agents broke into his room and discovered that he had an American visa, which allowed him to enter and leave the United States at will. Further investigations connected him to an individual in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, with whom he was photographed while attending an Al-Qaeda meeting. The investigations were increasingly warning of an immediate threat to the US. But here's an important piece of information. If Al-Midar was on American soil, his surveillance would have been the responsibility of the FBI. But outside the country, all surveillance was to be operated by the CIA, and no exchange of information would take place between the agencies. This was not simply due to carelessness. They were due to political mechanisms being implemented at the time which had created a bureaucratic barrier between the organizations. Here, it can be characterized as a failure, because in February 2000, Al-Midar and Al-Hazmi moved together into an apartment in San Diego, California, and the CIA did not inform the FBI. Instead, they tried to monitor the two men from afar. For over a year and a half, they moved, with virtually no restriction or intervention throughout the country. What nobody knew was that they would be part of the group of 19 people who acted in the September 11th attacks. As early as the following year, in June 2001, at a meeting between the agencies analyzing possible threats, CIA agents presented photos of the two men and gave details on Al-Midar's connections with Al-Qaeda. The FBI demanded more information about them, but once again, not everything was shared between the two agencies. On August 28th, FBI sources themselves found a possible threat of an Al-Qaeda attack, and the agency began its own investigation. But they only began this investigation on August 28th, just 14 days before the attacks. On September 11th, approximately 2 hours before the first attack, 5 men boarded American Airlines Flight 11, bound for Los Angeles. 3 of them were selected by the CAPS, or the Computer-Assisted Passenger Pre-Screening System, which is a random security screening system for pre-flight checks used in the US air travel industry. As the CAPS screening was for baggage inspection only, they did not undergo an extra check while going through security. At that time, there was a specific regulation on the length of knife blades allowed on board flights. If they were less than 10 centimeters, they were not considered to be a dangerous weapon. Because of this, they ended up being able to get on the plane carrying box cutters. Over the next hour, 14 men boarded 3 planes in different cities: Boston, Newark, and Washington, the US capital. Of these 14, 3 were pulled up in the random CAPS checks, but all of them still managed to board. You must be asking yourself, why did they let them board? Well, it's very easy for us to judge a case after it has happened, now that we know the threat they posed. But also, times were different. This was in 2001, and it was not considered possible that anyone would hijack a plane using a knife. In flight, the hijackers took action. There was nothing air traffic control or any other department could do to stop them. More than 5,000 flights were in the air at that time, and the person responsible for general control was Ben Sliney. He had worked with air traffic control for 30 years, but had just started as manager of national operations on September 11th of that year. It was his first day in the role. At 8:13 a.m., Boston tried to contact American Airlines Flight 11 twice, requesting that they return to the correct course, as the radar indicated that they were heading in an undesignated direction. There was no response. It is believed that the captain had been stabbed to death and that the plane was being piloted by hijacker Mohammed Atta. At 8:21, the flight stopped transmitting its altitude and speed information to the ground base. At 8:24, Atta tried to make an announcement to the passengers, but he pressed the wrong button and ended up transmitting a message to air traffic control in Boston.
Is that American 11 trying to call?
Buddy, we have some planes. Just stay quiet and you'll be okay. We're heading to the airport.
And who's trying to call me here? American 11, are you trying to call?
Nobody move. Everything will be okay. If you try to make any move, will injure yourself and the airplane. Let's stay quiet.
At 8:28, this report is given to Ben. At 8:33, there was a second contact.
Nobody move, please. We are going back to the airport. Don't try to make any stupid moves.
From here, there was no other response. Boston knew that the flight had been hijacked. They bypassed standard protocols and directly contacted the Air Defense Section of the North American Aerospace Defense Command in New York. 2 F-15 fighters were scrambled from Otis Air Force Base in Massachusetts to intercept the plane. At 8:34, flight attendant Betty Ong made contact with American Airlines Operations Center from a phone at the back of the plane.
Hello?
Yes, hello? What is your
Hi.
name?
You're going to have to speak up. I can't hear you.
Sure. What is your name?
Okay, my name is Betty Ong. I'm number 3 on flight 11.
Okay.
And the cockpit is not answering their phone. And there's somebody stabbed in business class, and we can't breathe in business class. Somebody's got mace or something.
Can you describe the person that you said someone is what in business class?
I'm sitting in the back. Somebody's coming back from business. If you can hold on for 1 second, they're coming back. I want to know who thinks stabbed who, you know? I don't know, but Karen and we got stabbed. Okay. Our number 1 got stabbed. Our purser is stabbed. Nobody knows who stabbed who, and we can't even get up to business class right now because nobody can breathe. Our number 1 is stabbed right now.
Okay.
And our number 5, our first class passengers, our first class galley flight attendant, and our purser has been stabbed. And we can't get the cockpit. The door won't open. Hello?
Yeah, I'm taking down all the information, and we're also, of course, recording this. At this point,
This is operations. What flight number are we talking about?
Flight 12.
Flight 12. Okay, no, we're on flight 11 right now. This is flight 11.
It's flight 11. I'm sorry, Nitty.
Boston to Los Angeles.
Yes.
Our number 1 has been stabbed, and our 5 has been stabbed. Can anybody get up to the cockpit? Can anybody get up to the cockpit? We can't even get into the cockpit. We don't know who's up there.
Well, if they were shrewd, they would keep the door closed, and
I'm sorry?
would they not maintain a sterile cockpit?
I think the guys are up there. They might have found their way up there or something. Nobody can call the cockpit. We can't even get inside. Is anybody still there?
Yes, we're still here.
Okay. I'm staying on the line as well.
Okay.
At 8:46, Mohammed Atta piloted the plane into floors 93 to 99 of the North Tower at approximately 750 kilometers per hour. The plane was carrying 38,000 liters of fuel. The damage caused to the tower destroyed any possibility of survival in the impact area and above. According to the September 11th Commission report, hundreds of people were killed instantly by the impact. The rest were trapped, dying from suffocation, smoke inhalation, ceiling collapse, or in some cases, falling from the building. On the lower floors, the elevator shafts channeled the fuel spilled by the aircraft, burning floor by floor until it reached the ground. Until now, many thought that this was an air accident.
I'm on the 106th floor of the World Trade Center. We just had an explosion on the 105th floor.
The 106th floor?
Yes.
106, okay.
We have a conference up there. There's about 100 people up here.
What is your last name?
Henley, H-A-N-L-E-Y. We have smoke, and it's pretty bad.
Okay, we have the job. Let me connect you with a file, okay?
Yes, it's fire, smoke.
You have a,
we have...
hold on, let me connect you with a file, okay?
Can't get down the stairs.
Hold on, let me connect you with fire.
Fire Department 408, where's the fire?
Yeah, hi. I'm on the 106th floor of the World Trade Center. We just had an explosion up here.
Okay, 106th floor. What building are you in, sir? 1 or 2?
One World Trade.
All right.
Yeah, there's smoke and we got about 100 people up here.
Do not leave, okay? There's a fire or an explosion or something in the building. All right, I want you to stay where you are.
See the smoke coming up from outside the windows down?
All right, we're on the way.
Okay.
All right, just keep some windows open. If you can open up windows and just sit tight. It's going to be a while because there's a fire going on downstairs.
Open the windows once we break.
Okay, just sit tight. All right, just sit tight. We're on the way.
All right, please hurry.
Unlike Christopher, other people decided to call family members as they were certain that this was to be the last day of their lives.
Sean, it's me. I just wanted to let you know I love you, and I'm stuck in this building in New York. There's lots of smoke, and I just wanted you to know that I love you always.
Joe, there's a fire next door. I love you, Joe. I love you. I don't know if I'm going to be okay, Joe. I love you so much.
At the same time, some people in the South Tower also called family members.
Hey Mom, it's Brad. Just wanted to call and let you know, I'm sure that you heard that a plane crashed into World Trade Center 1. We're fine, we're in World Trade Center 2. I'm obviously alive and well over here. You're welcome to give a call here. I think we'll be here all day, but give me a call back later. Love you.
Unfortunately, none of them survived. At 8:50, at the Federal Aviation Administration's command center, Ben still didn't know exactly what had happened in New York. The information that reached him was through a call in which he was told that CNN was reporting that a small plane had crashed into one of the World Trade Center towers. Ben turned on a television in his office, and from the images he knew that the size of the fire could not have been caused by a small plane. He began to feel that something very bad was happening, but the news agencies were still reporting that it was an accident. The launch of the F-15 fighter jets to intercept Flight 11 occurred at 8:51, 13 minutes after the request, and 5 minutes after the plane had already reached the North Tower. The plane was tracked by the New York Center on Long Island, which was responsible for monitoring aircraft on high-altitude flights. Controller Dave Battaglia focused on the off-course Flight 11 until it disappeared from his screen. It was not clear what had happened to the plane. The 9/11 Commission reports that he tried to locate the aircraft on his radar until he was alerted that another plane might also be in trouble. United Airlines Flight 175, scheduled to fly from Boston to Los Angeles, was also off course. Battaglia tried several times to contact the aircraft, but to no avail, so he quickly alerted other controllers that a second hijack might be in progress. At 9 a.m., while the F-15 was still tracking Flight 11, Flight 175 began a high-speed descent. At 9:03, it crashed into the South Tower, between floors 77 and 85.
Holy shit! Oh my God!
At approximately 950 kilometers per hour. It was also carrying about 38,000 liters of fuel. As several television stations were already covering the flames of the first building, the attack on the second tower was broadcast live throughout the globe. New York knew that they were under attack. At 9:04, Ben considered all airborne craft as potential hijack situations and prohibited all planes nationwide from taking off. Any aircraft in US airspace were ordered to land immediately at their nearest airport, regardless of their destination. Ben believed he could be fired for these actions taken on his very first day in office, but he felt this was the right thing to do. At 9:05, American Airlines Flight 77 was identified as being off course. It was supposed to fly to Los Angeles, but it was heading towards Washington. It was not clear what the third target could be. At 9:17, a South Tower employee named Melissa Doy called 911 for help.
8695, good morning, have a good day.
Hi, what's your number again, please?
8695.
Oh my God, I'm on the 83rd floor.
86 what?
I'm on the 83rd
Now,
floor.
tell me 86 what? 8695. 8695? It's at the World Trade Center. Someone having difficulty breathing on the 83rd floor. Okay, ma'am, how you doing?
Are they going to be able to get somebody up here?
Well, of course, ma'am, we're coming up to you.
Well, there's no one here yet, and the floor is completely engulfed. We're on the floor, and we can't breathe.
Okay.
And it's very, very, very hot.
Are the lights still on?
The lights are on, but it's very hot.
Ma'am,
Very hot. We're all the way on the other side of Liberty, and it's very, very hot.
Any lights, you can turn the lights off?
No, the lights are off.
Okay, good. Now, everybody stay calm. You're doing a good job.
Please.
Ma'am, listen. The ambulance, everybody's coming. Everybody knows. Everybody knows what happened, okay?
Yeah.
They have to take time to come up here. You know that. You got to be very careful.
Very hot.
I understand. You got to be very, very careful how they approach you, okay? Now, you stay calm. So how many people where you're at right now?
There's like 5 people here with me.
Everybody's awake?
Yeah, still
conscious. And it's very hot there, but no fire, right? No fire for now, and no smoke, right?
Of course there's smoke.
Ma'am, you have to stay calm.
There is smoke. I can't breathe.
Okay, you stay calm with me, okay? I understand.
I think there is fire because it's very hot.
Okay.
It's very hot everywhere on the floor.
Okay. I know you don't see it, and I know, but I'm going to document. I'm documenting what you say, okay? And it's very hot. We see no fire, but you see smoke, right?
All I see is smoke.
Okay, dear. I'm so sorry. Hold on stay calm with me. Stay calm. Now, listen. The call is in. I'm documenting. I'm going to let those... Hold on 1 second, please.
I'm going to die, aren't I?
No.
I'm going to die.
Ma'am, say your prayers. And we're going to think positive because you got to help each other get off the floor. Now, stay calm. You're doing a good job, ma'am. You're doing a good job.
It's so hot. I'm burning up.
Hold on a second. Everybody's floor.
Help! Help!
Hello, ma'am?
Help!
Stay calm, ma'am. Stay calm. Just don't move.
People from the South Tower called family members to say their last goodbyes.
Mom, it's Steven. My building got hit by a plane, and right now I think I'm okay. I'm safe now, but it's smoky. I just want to say how much I love you, and I will call you when I'm safe. Okay, Mom? Bye.
Hi, Ron, it's me. Just want to let you know I love you and the girls. Tell my mom to, we're going down to that trade center thing, the second plane that just crashed into that building. So we're on our way down there. I love you. I'll talk to you later.
Neil, it's Brian. A plane crashed into the trade center. It's on fire, and I'm in it. And I can't breathe. Tell everyone I love them. I don't get out of here. Goodbye.
None of them survived. At 9:37, flying at a speed of 360 kilometers per hour, the third plane, which Ben suspected had also been hijacked, crashed into the southwest wing of the Pentagon, the headquarters of the US Department of Defense. At 9:44 in San Francisco, with all US flights grounded, United Airline Flight 93 was not obeying the order and was flying outside the permitted area. The aircraft disappeared from the radar screen as it traversed Shanksville, Pennsylvania. The 9/11th's Commission reports that the black box recordings reveal that the crew and passengers tried to take control of the plane on learning through phone calls that other planes had been hijacked. According to the transcript, one of the kidnappers gave the order to change their route as it had become evident that they would lose control. The aircraft crashed at 10:03 in Pennsylvania. Now there are claims that the plane was hit by a US missile as a means of protecting the seat of government. At 9:59 a.m., the South Tower collapsed, having stood for just 56 minutes after impact. The North Tower collapsed at 10:28 a.m., 1 hour and 42 minutes after being hit. When it fell, debris hit World Trade Center 7, starting a fire. These fires burned for hours, compromised the structural integrity of the building, and it also collapsed at 5:21 p.m. After these events, investigations began, or in this case, continued, due to the communication problem between the CIA and FBI agencies. The luggage of one of the 19 hijackers, Mohammed Atta, who was on Flight 11, was not placed on the connection he made in the city of Portland. Upon opening the suitcase, several pieces of evidence were analyzed, and they discovered that he was connected to the other kidnappers, Al-Qaeda, and the terrorist Osama bin Laden. The Commission's investigations, in addition to confirming Osama bin Laden as the leader, identified Khalid Sheikh Mohammed as a key planner of the attacks. After his capture, he reportedly confessed to the FBI and CIA agents details about his role in the attacks and the operation. But the interrogator's use of torture caused many to question certain aspects of his confessions. The official death toll from the attacks is 2,996. More than 6,000 people were wounded. More than 1,100 bodies could not be identified. The coroner's office also collected about 10,000 unidentified bones and human tissue fragments that could not be matched with anyone on the dead list. Bone fragments were still being found in 2006, when workers were preparing to demolish another tower near the center of the World Trade Center bombings. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed is alive and in prison. Osama bin Laden was killed in an operation carried out on May 2, 2011 by US forces. At the site of the attacks, both at the World Trade Center and in the Pentagon, the government has built memorials to remember the citizens of more than 70 different countries whose lives ended that day. We express our deepest sympathies to the victim's family. If you've made it this far, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to this channel. Also, add your opinion in our comments. Thank you very much. I will see you in the next case.